it's a women's activist, advocate, and cannot wait to hear from her. Ruby, the mic is yours. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, Anne. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. My name is Ruby. I believe I've had an interaction with most of you, but I still feel like some of you are still new. Mami Soa, um, okay, your names are not everyone at the IMPA, I think. So the new fellows, I'm still trying to connect with some people, although we've had a chat before. Okay, so today, Blessing gave me the task to do three different things in one training space. And I want to just go straight to the point and be brief at the same time. Let me share my screen. I don't know. Um, Let me share my entire screen. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to share. Um, okay. Can you see my screen? Do you see moderation? Blah, blah, blah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So my sessions are very interactive. I like to engage my audience a lot, and I want us to have a discussion. I don't want this place to be just like you're just listening to something and, I want to also hear from you at the same time. Um, yeah, I believe most of you have heard about moderation, the reason why you asked for that. And I think Anne does so well with moderation. I think she should have been hosting this moderation slide. So I think for Anne, I would also like you to share one or two things from your experience with moderation that we can also learn from, because I don't know it all. We all learn from each other. And then we're going to learn about evaluation and also data skills. I will just show you how to do simple um, data. No, I think I'm not sharing the right slide, right? Just give me a moment. Sorry. No, this is not the slide. Let me see. Just a moment, please. Hmm. Um, so what is moderation? Let's just have a conversation while I find the slide. Who knows about what moderation? When we talk about moderation, what comes into your mind? What does it look like to you? Can someone share something briefly? And can you share something on it?
Yes, I have texted on chat that it's more of guiding conversations, and also at the anchor's hand is raised. Yes, for me, I think moderating is guiding a conversation and leading it to achieve the goal that is intended to.
Okay. Who else wants to go?
At the anchor.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good afternoon.
So, with the experience I've had with moderating, I feel like the main soul of moderating an event a workshop, a training is for organization. Because let me just give example. There is a conversation that I have every Sunday with some of my scholars. So, and in the meeting, we sometimes, nominate one another to moderate the session, not because, we don't know what to do, but the sole aim that we want it to be organized. So the person can just call the next person and tell us the next agenda so that the event will go well and everything will be organized. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Who else? It's all
Ruby, there are
learning.
some chats.
Can you read
Sorry.
them out?
Yes, Beatrice says, I think of putting, when she thinks of moderating, she thinks of putting order and control measures. Veronica says moderation is keeping conversations or content on track, fair and respectful, and making sure everyone follows the rules. Yes.
Awesome. I
Okay.
love. Mhm.
Pascaline has added, she
You're
says
taking.
moderation. Sorry?
Go ahead.
Okay. Pascaline says moderation helps things, especially events, go smoothly. And then Emilia says control or managing to ensure flow of events or content.
Awesome. Awesome. So let me share my screen. So it's on my desktop. I don't know how that is going to share. Um, do you see my screen? Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Do you see the moderation slide?
Event moderation, project evaluation, and data analysis.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you can see it. Okay, let me try to present. I think all that you ladies have said is in the right direction. And I think you've touched on some of the things that I'm going to talk about today. So I think let's just go through systematically. I think all of these things you guys have mentioned in your suggestion, which tells me that you have an idea of what moderation is. So who is a moderator? So just like um Veronica has been doing or has done. For instance, during the Skill Up event, she was a moderator, and together with Emanuela. So I think what she's done is to make sure that people are guided. So for every event that you do, you make sure that you set an agenda. And any event or meeting that you are doing without an agenda can go any direction because you don't have a direction. So setting an agenda actually keeps the focus of the event, the purpose of the event, and then also the purpose or guides people on the discussions that are being made. And a moderator keeps time and also facilitates, it keeps the people engaged. And it's very important to keep the people engaged as a moderator. And you also encourage people to speak up. So apart from setting an agenda, keeping up to time, you also facilitate dialogue, and in facilitating dialogue, you try to make sure that everyone has opportunity to speak. So even if you see, for instance, you are moderating an in-person event. I've been to an in-person event where somebody is moderating, and there are some people who want to speak, but they're not sure how to frame their words. They are shy. They think they could be criticized for what they said. So as a moderator, if you want to hear from people who usually shy away from public appearance, you should find other means to get people's opinion. And so sometimes you could pass on a paper for the people to jot down their ideas without even putting down their name. Their names don't need to be mentioned. And that can also bring out some kind of information that you will not naturally hear from the other group of people who like to talk all the time. So depending on the kind of events that you're facilitating, you can look at different kinds of ways to get feedback, to keep people engaged, to keep people to ask questions. And for instance, in an online event, that's why sometimes you say, okay, put your message in the chat if you're not comfortable to speak, and someone will read it out for you. So just like we've sent today, we've had similar kind of thing. And as a moderator, it's very important that at the end of the day, you capture points and action item. It's not enough to assume that everybody even captured the next item or the points, the main point. Because you can be in a discussion, a whole lot of people are saying a whole lot, but at the end of the day, ask what? So what's the way forward? Or what have we concluded? So a good moderator would summarize the outcome of what has been discussed in a very simplest form, in a nutshell. That makes everyone go out of the meeting well informed with one main single goal. Okay. So what will make you do that as a moderator? As a moderator, you need to have active listening skills. Active listening skills. Not everybody is good at that, but it's something you can learn. You don't have to think that it's for some particular people and blah, blah, blah. You could be an active listener if you want to. Okay. Active listener. Listen well, open your ear, take notes, try to understand if somebody is speaking, because we are living in a multi cultural context. The way that people in South Africa, in Uganda communicate is kind of different from the way Ghanaians communicate. And even when you go outside, it's different. So sometimes I am in conferences outside because somebody is trying to say something and you don't know what they are saying. So at that moment, you don't want to be distracted. You need to listen carefully and try to get what the person is driving at. Sometimes you would understand all the person is saying, the latter part. Because the choice of words, the vocabularies, their jargons that they use, their mannerism, it's totally different from what you are very much used to. So in these kind of spaces, active listening is very important. You don't even have to be a moderator to learn active listening. It's highly important as an individual, especially when you work with people in different contexts. Even the way we chat, the kind of words we use, the kind of way we express ourselves can be offended. Somebody can get offended by it, but to you is nothing offensive. So I've seen a lot how sometimes miss I don't know if I call it miscommunication or mislistening can lead to a lot of problems when you don't listen well and you don't pick the right information. So always try to ask for clarity. Don't feel like you have to be the perfect listener. If you do not understand, you can ask for clarity, okay? To make sure that, okay, you've gotten the right information, because at the end of the day, you are coordinating a whole group of people who are on the call, who are in a meeting. You are steering the affairs of the conversation. And so if you don't listen well, you can misdirect the whole team or the whole audience that you are engaging. Then another important thing that I also see that some people, especially like if I don't know, I've also witnessed people in the space, in my journey in the wiki space, where they come with non-neutral because of your background, because of your way of understanding your beliefs. Because remember that nobody is neutral on your own. You all have your beliefs, you all have your culture, you all have what is right to you and what is not right to you. Okay? We all have our biases in a nutshell. We all have our biases. Nobody here will say, me, I'm not biased. These are called unconscious bias. They are born with you, they are inside you. Sometimes you'll be talking, you don't know that it's being influenced by your biases. We are all biased by nature. But when you come to such spaces, when you are moderating, remember that your role is moderator. Your role is not taking sides with anybody. So make sure that you avoid taking sides. For instance, someone is speaking on, okay, I think that if maybe somebody's love for football, making a suggestion about how football should be taken seriously over basketball and blah, 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 as a moderator, you know that football is not the only sport. Why should we focus on football and cut short funding for all the other sports and focus on football because football makes money? You know that what he's saying might not make sense, but your role as a moderator is not to put sense into people. Your role as a moderator is to understand why are you saying this? You try to get some more information. Don't take sides. Let the people pour out their reason. It can help you to understand what is forming the basis for they saying what they are saying. Okay. And then you also give up other people who oppose the opinion to also give their thoughts. And so this is like you're more than collecting data, but immediately you start showing signs that you don't support it. And I've seen moderators like that. They are very blunt about what they support, what they believe. And at that moment of moderation, they forget themselves. And then they begin to, try to fight battles during a moderation, which for me, it's off because you are just here to moderate. Okay. Let us hear all opinions. And then if at any point you want people to make a decision, you can just put it back to the people to vote. And let's see how many people agree with this or agree with that. And you could use different forms. For instance, if you are doing online engagement, there was a research that we're doing for Wiki for Human Rights, and we asked certain questions. We're using Mentimeter survey. And so we asked certain questions and people voted, this people voted. And we asked, okay, well, how many? So at the end of the day, we put all the suggestions that the people suggested and we said, okay, now all of you react to the one that aligns to you. Then they started reacting like you see 10 hats on this, 20 hats on this. Then some other opinions, you see just 2 hats. So then you could see where the people in the room are agreeing more to and which people are not agreeing more. So you then understand like where people's support goes to. Okay. And you need to have emotional intelligence. It's all part. Emotional intelligence is very, very important because during moderation sessions, there could be tension, depending on what event you are going to, because sometimes, even some events, people are coming out already heated up to speak their mind and to, challenge people. They are coming already angry. So you need to have that emotional intelligence to discern and also to see how to manage people's emotions, anger, feelings, respectfully. Some people can try to destroy the whole thing by trying to speak bad words about someone, try to discern all of them and manage them. Don't add to it because you don't like the way someone spoke. And so you want to also join the others to fight them. We don't do that as a moderator. Remember that your role is a moderator. You are not part of all the things that you are just guiding them, guiding the people to have their discussion. and on time. And try to employ questioning skills. Okay. Don't ask questions. How are you? Yes. Are you fine? Yes. No. Those kind of close-ended questions, you know. How do you feel today? Let the person answer. Because if I ask you, how do you feel today? You can't tell me yes. It doesn't make sense. Like, doesn't even answer the question. No. So try to ask questions in a way that can give you enough information. Like I said, it all depends on what event you are organizing. You can employ different kinds of skills. You also set boundaries. And I like what I think Veron and did on Scale Up, sets telling them about the rules. If you want to speak, you can leave it in the chat or raise up your hands. There'll be a time for questions. There'll be a time for this. You set the rules so everybody understands like what is expected, how they are supposed to. If not, everybody will just open their mic and be speaking at any point in time, and there's a whole chaos at the end of the day. So boundary setting upfront are very important as a moderator. Know your tools. Know your tools. Know the platform. Look, I've been I've been I remember there was a lecture that we were attending, and my dear, we were on this Zoom. The lecturer said he can't join. He's joined. He don't know what to do. A whole lot. He struggled for a whole hour, and then that meeting had to end. That meeting just ended because at the time they were not familiar with the Zoom, because I understand that they like to use Microsoft blah blah blah. And so this time it was a Zoom, and it's not a platform that the lecturer was familiar with. And so it took him a whole hour to trying to fix this, so it never got fixed, and then the lecture had to end. And we've seen similar situation in different kinds of events where people are not familiar with the platform, and it's a whole lot of chaos. You don't want to do that. So make sure that you get familiar. I think during the recent podcast interview, Emanuela told me that we're going to use Riverside. And I was like, I haven't used that before, but if she can share the link, I could. So I tried to explore the platform before the day. And so it was kind of easy for me to navigate it when it was time for the interview. So we didn't waste much time. In less than 40 minutes, we were done with that interview. Yeah, so yeah, what are the do's and don'ts? I'll just like to touch on a brief do's and don'ts, and then we can move on to the next thing. Prepare clear agenda. We talked about that. Start on time. Keep track of time. I like the way that most of you showed up on time. That shows that you guys are serious. We'll be happy for Blessing if you could note down the names of all those who attend every single meeting. I think it's it's really appreciated that you could make time as volunteers to be here. Welcome participants and set ground. We've talked about that. Encourage quieter voices to contribute. So if you notice that some people are not talking, you call them out respectfully and also try to get their opinion. There's a way that you can even, speak to them in a way that they'll feel encouraged, to speak up. Summarize key points and actions at the end. So at the end of the day, what did we learn? You summarize everything for people, especially for those who didn't join on time. Follow up with notes or recording link so that they can refer back. What you don't want to do as a moderator, dominate conversation or share strong opinions. Can't you see that sometimes it feels boring? Like you are a moderator, it's like you have taken the conversation. You are not even letting people speak again. I don't know. I've been in such rooms before. Like the moderator has taken the whole. We just have to make her a panelist so that she just take over. Because at this point, you are no more a moderator. You are a panelist. Okay. So there are instances like that and the moderator actually feels like, oh, she has a lot to say. We've seen similar, I've been to similar spaces like that. Allow one person to take over without interview. I've seen that before, where the moderator feel aligned with somebody's opinion and constantly allowing that person to speak. I don't know, but it's very wrong. Ignore technical issues, test everything beforehand, skip introduction in virtual or large events. You don't skip introduction. And I like that even though we are just within ourselves, we had an introduction, and I feel like, wow, you guys are too serious. So thanks, Blessing, for bringing that up. I feel like it was so cool. And Let side let side conversation derail the main discussion. No, don't let any side conversation derail the main discussion. And without clear summary, at the end of the day, there's no guide, there's no summary as to where we are going, direction we are going, what is the conclusion? Is the moderator, because if you want to know what the conclusion of every event is, if you want to know what the conclusion of every event is the moderator you hear from, because he is going to summarize everything you might have missed, any important direction that you might have missed. The moderator is going to give you a summary of it. Okay, so the moderator is always taking notes of that. So I think I've mentioned a lot of things: test audio, set agenda, assign co-host. Co-host is also very important, especially for online events, because internet issues can fail. And it's as serious as that. It's as serious as that. It's as serious as that. I remember there was an event that I think it was a Wiki for Human Rights event, and so I had to move from my usual office to be at the conference. And it was on that same day after the conference, there's an online training for the global campaign that they need me to come and train them. So it's like, it was a coincidence that both trainings were hosted on the same day. And come and see me sweating, trying to sign in. I signed in, and then the internet was messing. When I speak, they don't hear. When I speak, they don't hear. Whatever I say, they can't hear. There were glitches here and there. I knew that and there were a lot of people waiting. So then I told that, you know what, take over this training, because it would be an endless struggle. The internet was just not functioning at the place that I was at the time. So it's good to always have a co-host, someone who can step in a case where your internet is struggling. You don't want to mess up, because once you mess up, that whole people don't like to meet twice about things. That meeting might never come on. You can use breakout rooms, set poll slides to get people to give their feedback.
Seems
I
so
Hello.
sorry, wait. Yeah. Hello, Anne. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, I can, but I've lost Ruby.
Yes, same thing here. It seems network have kicked her out. She will join back. So let's just wait for Madam Ruby to join.
Okay.
Yes. So our great moderators in the house, hope you are learning new things.
Yes, we
I
are.
want your emoji. If you are learning, I want to see your emoji that yes, you are learning today. Okay, yeah, Veronica, I can see that. And that is nice. That is nice. I can see emojis. So moderating section will not be an issue for us after today, right?
No.
Okay, so very good. Andika and Pascaline Mamiso, are you on this call? I'm just calling a roll call as we wait for Madam Ruby to rejoin. And who is the second person with Africa Wiki Women? Because of attendance, please.
This
Okay.
one is here.
Okay, Andy. Okay, I just want to confirm if you are here. Pascaline, are
I'm
you
not the
here? Oh,
one
yeah.
with this.
Okay, Pascaline, what do you say?
I say I'm not the one with the Africa Wiki Women logo. So maybe you
Uh,
need to ask
I'm,
again.
it's my second. I'm the one. Yes. Add. So she rejoined. So when she rejoined, then she will continue. So I would love to ask Beatrice, are you here?
Yes.
Beatrice,
Hi, how are you?
so yes, in just like it's in 2 sentences, can you just summarize what you have learned so far from the section?
All right. I have learned that moderation needs a central person. That means you need to manage your anger. You need to have self-control so that you won't be all over or you won't overshadow the panelists and the audiences. So my
Ah,
fear with moderation is to be everywhere.
go say to me everywhere. Okay, thank you. Please let's give Beatrice a virtual round of applause. I think that she is actually in the call. She have not been sleeping. Dorcas, Dorcas, are you on the call?
Hi, Blessing. I'm on.
Okay. What have you learned so far? Please don't copy from Beatrice.
Hey,
Just
what
tell me.
if that's what I'm supposed to say?
So tell us what you have learned so far before our trainer will come back.
Okay, so what I learned, two things that stood
Okay.
out was that um you shouldn't be biased as a moderator. Even though we have our personal biases, but you shouldn't let that influence your actions when you are moderating an event or a program. And the other thing I learned is that as a moderator, you should know what you are about. You should be very confident in presenting your issues out there, and presenting whatever that's going to be done in the day to the people that you are moderating the event to. So basically, that's just it.
Thank you very much. Please, a virtual round of applause for Dorcas. I love that. Some may ask that what does biasness mean? Since it's just attending maybe a session or a training, and why is she saying biasness? Now, anyone that joined the last training, that is skill up training, and they're like people were raising up their hands, and I think Ruby also raised her hand. Pelumi was the one she was the one moderating the section as at that time. She did not call Ruby first. She called the person that raised her hand first. Even though Ruby was let me just use madam for an example, right? So since it's an open space, let's not say, oh, because this social person is my uncle, this social person is my boss. Let me call the person first. The person that raised their hand first should be called first. So over to you, Madam Ruby. Welcome back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Blessed. And that was a smart example. I noticed that too, and I felt it was a good thing. I wasn't angry or something, but I felt it was good for other people to be given the opportunity, and it didn't feel like there was any kind of biasness here. And so, yeah, this is Blessing. You are very observant. I like that. Yeah. So let me wrap up with this one. Sorry for just when I was talking about internet, you see, and the internet heard me and got angry. So look out for chats in the questions and connects. Use screen shares to display visuals. If you have visuals, display them. Run polls, boost engagement. And then after the event, you send summary notes within 24 hours. What you learn. So, for instance, after scale up event, people are waiting for the recording. What did she say? I didn't start from the beginning. What was the? You can create a small post and say, "Oh, hello. Those who couldn't join, this is the meeting recording. Watch on YouTube, subscribe, blah blah blah," so that people can, still engage with the content. This is not for every event. So that means that not every event needs to be recorded, because for some events, I know in the Wikimedia space, there are some meetings that I've been to where people's note takers join, they delete them, they remove them off, because this meeting is not for the purpose of recording people, it's for this, like some kind of discussion that can be kind of sensitive. And you don't want to be recording people word for word, and then the moment it gets into people's notes, they were not in the meeting, so they can misread it, misunderstand them, and it can lead to a whole lot of misconception, miscommunication. So know what meetings that you record and the meetings that you don't record. And also, when you are taking notes as a moderator, you know what to record. Don't go and record someone saying something very bad and then you want to put it word by word in your notes. That would escalate more problems. Collect feedback. If you feel like you still need additional feedback, you can use the survey to get if it was the session okay, what do you want to change, what do you want to be included in the next session. Document your lesson, follow-up action item. I think that brings us to the end of our module. So the whole idea is not to take you through a whole moderation course that you might need to take at the at the communication school. It's just to give you some brief tips and everyday tips on moderation. I believe that this tips will be helpful for you. I know you guys have done a recap on that, so I wouldn't want to take you back to moderation, but let's move in. Okay, Buki, you have a question?
Not really a question. I just have a suggestion. I
Okay.
think I've been on one of the calls that was organized by the team, and
Okay.
most often time we tend to just have like a dead space when people are joining calls. I think we can try our best to like just keep the space lively. There's this link on YouTube to to like a space where you can get some background sound that you can play, or just try to just keep the space lively. The way you start your session determines whether or not someone is going to stay for the next 15 or 30 minutes. So I just also want to chip that in as part of what we should be very mindful of as moderators of calls that we organize.
I like that. And you brought my attention to something very important. I like that. And we all need to pay attention to that, because when I join a space, the whole place is dead. I don't know. And even the sound of your voice, it feels like you are even not excited as a moderator. When Anne moderated the session on Skill Up, I think if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. It was really exciting because right from the onset, it felt like, wow, something good is coming. And you could feel the energy in the room, like something really. So you are curious, like you want to stay because she's telling you all the exciting things that you should expect in the session and why you should be there and why you should wait and what you should be doing whilst you are waiting. So it was very clear. And for me, I was like, okay, wow, that's interesting. And so you could see that a lot of people stayed. When I tracked the number of people that stayed, we didn't get like a large number of people dropping off even at the middle of the session. And Rosie also nailed it. So it's kind of affects everyone who is presenting in the room, even in team meetings, okay, the way you sound. There was one particular team meeting, the way the sound was going from the beginning, I was like, I was even very sad. Like I was not happy, like what's happening? And nobody feels excited. And it didn't really ginger anybody to speak. And so people were not really coming up, opening up till the latter part of the session where we started pointing things and everybody started. Then it led to the meeting going far beyond, because by the time people were ginger to talk was as a result of some questions that were asked, and then everybody started coming up, you know. So as a moderator, if you don't moderate well, you're not going to get the best part of the people, and it can drag the meetings and a whole lot. Any other ideas that anyone want to share before we move on to the no other ideas? Okay. Is there anything in the chat?
No, there's nothing in the chat.
Okay. So let's take note of that. I don't want to join in a team meeting where it's like somebody is not happy, there's no excitement, and it's all part of the practice. Okay, so let's Bukola.
Yeah, sorry. I just remember
Oh,
something again.
yeah,
I
please go on.
noticed that some of our calls, we tend to be off camera as moderators. I'm not saying you should turn on your camera throughout the entire period of the session, but you can try to just turn on your camera as people are joining. Because when they hear the voice and they see a face, they're able to place a face to the voice. Then it's help them feel that human, know that the space is not an AI controlled space. You understand. So I think for the first 15 minutes, even if you're not going to turn on your camera throughout the entire period of the session, always try to like turn on your camera for the first 15 to 30 minutes. So that's just something I remember.
I love that too. I was going to give an emoji. I don't even know where the emoji is, but I love that. Blessing. I love that point. It's very, very important. Very, especially when they are moderating and you don't even see, you see like a, you don't even see a picture. You see a letter. That's even the worst. Yeah, Blessing, go ahead.
Okay, I also want to draw our attention to something. Although what Bukola just mentioned now, I would also love our current trainer to also show us a face so that we'll know that someone is behind the camera. So apart from that, during our was it roundtable event or a particular event, and we had two moderators, both the moderator and co-moderator. So the co-moderator was the one playing a song. So she was trying to play a song. The song wasn't playing. So she still, she was like, okay, I'm still going to play the song. Let's continue. She tried to play the song. The song refused to play. Oh yeah, now please move to the next item of the agenda. Our, sorry for laughing. Our co-moderator said she's not going to move, that song must play. I don't know if Bukola can remember vividly. We had
The
to
song
beg.
had to play before. Meanwhile, she didn't test the song. And she wants to test it there.
No, she said she tested the song earlier. It was
How did she
working.
test it? Did somebody
I don't know.
confirm it was
I don't
playing?
know. So during
There are
the
different
section,
kinds of testing.
so please, that's another additional stuff. Once you try to do something and it's not working, once you repeat doing it, the audience will think that you don't know what you are doing, or maybe you are not serious. So once you try it, you can even say, oh, maybe it's network. We'll try it later. So later, try to organize what you did not do well before and come back to the session. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's a hilarious one. I remember there was this event that we did, the Celebrate Her. We had about 90 women on the call from all over the world. I knew sometimes when you are playing music from another device or something, the computer doesn't pick it. I've tried that several times. People don't hear, they hear some record sound. And I'm like, how does this Baraza people do it? So when I tried with YouTube, okay, and I realized that the YouTube work, the sound comes in very good. So maybe instead of playing some phone from your phone to forcing your laptop to listen to it, it might not sound well, like the way it's sounding well when you are in your room. So you might want to try YouTube, and make sure that your mic is on. Because once your mic is mute, they will not hear. So make sure that your mic is on. And I think that YouTube does that justice to that a lot. Yeah. And it's good to add music. Because at that moment we're playing different kinds of music and interludes, and it was really nice. It was really nice. So yeah. Yeah, let's just do that. Andy, can you have a question? You have a contribution? Please go ahead.
I
Just
can
go ahead.
remember our 2025 fellows graduation. I was asked to be the DJ. I didn't actually know how to play music. So sometimes it's actually best for us to research on something that we are appointed to do and probably we don't know how to do it. So I researched, I think I asked ChatGPT how to go about it, and yes, it mustn't be YouTube. We can play audio from Spotify if you have the app, or be it Boomplay. So there's an option that I think after when you click on more, you're going to see share audio. You're sharing the audio from your laptop. So any song you're playing or anything you're playing is going to be playing as well. So as moderators,
Yeah.
when we are actually tasked to do something, we can seek or research for further knowledge and then add to what we know. Thank you.
Yeah. That sounds good. And you played it on the same device as the device that you were using, right? Okay.
Ruby, there's a comment for you in the chat.
Okay. What's the comment?
You need to turn on your camera. That's the comment.
So the truth is the moderator already turned on her camera. I'm not the moderator.
As the presenter, you also
I'm
need to
a
turn on your
presenter.
camera. Yes, both moderators. And this is
Yeah,
the first time I'm seeing Veronica's face, so
Veronica.
good.
Oh, I think it was during
Even
the Skill Up publicity I saw her. I was like, I used to see you guys like in Zoom meetings, but not like, I think it's cool. Yeah, good to see you. So moderator is on her camera for us, whilst I co-moderate or I co-present, and Buki is standing in for me. So thank you so much, Buki. Yeah. Okay, let's move ahead. So when we talk about evaluation, what specifically do we mean? What specifically do we mean? So usually there's a common term that we know, it's called the monitoring and evaluation. So there's monitoring and evaluation. If you do a lot of projects, especially developmental projects, they do a lot of monitoring and evaluation. The whole idea is to make sure that, are we on track? I remember there was a project that I did on USA Partnership for Education. We're doing a monitoring and evaluation project where we were tracking, I think, no, that was not even the USA panel. It was Discovery Girls Alliance project. We were tracking a cohort of girls for 3 years to see how technology can help retain kids in school, because at the time, the northern part of Ghana reported very high dropout of kids at a very early stage. A lot of girls were dropping out from school for so many reasons, and wanted to see if technology would make them stay, would make them love to come to school. And sometimes I don't blame the parents, because they also are going through a whole lot of economic hardship. If you don't want to go, then come and join us in the farm. Maybe school is not for you, and some kind of beliefs that, reinforces this kind of dropout rate. So what we were doing is we train enumerators, and then we would check on, I was the data analyst at the time. We were tracking data that were coming in. And so we monitored all the data that were coming from these enumerators from different parts in the northern region. And we saw that we could monitor and say, okay, these people are on track. Why are these people giving us erroneous data? Why is the data not, in line? Because you could tell it's either they don't understand the question you're asking, or it's either they are inputting wrong things in wrong questions. Why? It's either they don't know how to use the tool, or they've forgotten how to use the tool, or something like that. So monitoring and evaluation is very important, because once you keep monitoring, you know where the errors are coming from. And then you could also know which people need extra training, maybe which team members need extra training, and which team members are fine and good to go. So it's basically a process used to track and assess the performance of a project, a program, or policy. So whatever that you're doing, you can incorporate monitoring and evaluation. And it's basically to, check if we have achieved what we have set out to do. So you are doing on Wiki skill mentorship program. How do we know if we have achieved what we have set out to do? How do we measure? And at Africa Wiki Women, we do a whole lot of measurement. You all don't know. We do a whole lot of measurement. We do a whole lot of tracking. That's why, Madam, our M&E expert officer is here, Wiki. She does check whether you are putting your data, because data is what will help us to know whether we are on track. I know some of the HODs, we are always on you, update your data, update your metrics, update this. It can be daunting, it can feel boring, but these are very important metrics for us as an organization to know where we are going to, because we also report to other people who are tracking our progress, who wants to know where we are at any point in time. So if you look at this framework, or it's just it's a dashboard or whatever, I don't know, it's just a diagram, basically. Did we achieve what we set out to do? That's the question that you want to ask. How do we know if we achieved what we set out to do? One, the results. Did output and outcome match the targets? One, for instance, our own Wiki, I'll use our example. Our own Wiki skill, we wanted to train 15 mentees last year. And so we recruited 20 plus, about 25, and we realized that for some people, the commitments were not in line with them. They dropped out. And so our question we asked at the end of the day, did we get the 15? Okay, so when we checked the data and those that dropped out, we realized that at the end of the day, we still had within the number that we set out to. So this means that we know that definitely some people might drop out. Even if you look at the fellowship program, some people drop out because of other commitments. And so it's not always wise, based on some of the experience that we had, to have the exact number all the time for certain things, especially if you're not going to reach your results. So always know that depending on what you're doing, you might want to add a little bit more, so that when, in the case of unforeseen circumstances, you are not below your target significantly. Did the project address the real need? What was the real need? One, the real need for our on Wiki Skill Mentorship program is that we want to bring up newbies to advance in the wiki skills by pairing them with experienced mentors. And when we brought them in, we assessed their level of understanding. So we asked them to rate, what is your level of understanding of wiki data from 1 to 5? And they'll say, okay, 1. Wikipedia, 1. Some will say 0. Some will say it does. So we picked out people with very low scores. I think Andy can lead that. And these are things that we guided her to do. We want people with very low scores, people who are scoring low on the wiki, like people who have like 1, very, very low experience with Wikipedia, and we invite them in for the on-wiki skills training and train them. And then at the end of the day, we want to ask the same questions. Are you seeing that? Then how we are measuring, we will ask the same question. Okay, after the training, what is your Wikipedia? How would you rate your Wikipedia editing experience? Well, how would you rate your Wikidata editing experience? How would you rate your Wiki Commons editing experience? Then we might ask, okay, explain why. Have you been able to do some editing? What have you done? They would write it down and all of that. And this helps us to measure whether we are making impact or not. And also another skills, for instance, the leadership and mentorship program, after you all are here to learn to be great leaders in the movement. Beyond this place, we want to see you occupying spaces. We want to see you being confident. We want to see you doing amazing things. And we've seen a lot of our women have left this fellowship feeling very confident and doing amazing work. And so recently, I think I asked Blessing, let's have an alumni evaluation to see what our alumni are doing, our ambassadors are doing now with the skills they've learned. And that way we'll be able to measure the impact we are making beyond the programs that they are benefiting from. How are they, using those skills to impact their communities and the like? So there are several things that you need to, and you can start with survey tools, Kobo Collect. You can use simple Google Forms to track all of these things. So even in your current programs, projects, depending on what you're doing, you can find your way to assess, have metrics, okay? Have metrics that you want to measure. Don't just start a program because you want to start. What are the metrics that you want to achieve? And then once you start implementing, you can also ask yourself questions to see if you've achieve those metrics. Efficient resources. Look, you can achieve your goal, but then you would have used all the funds, which was not meant for just that project. And that is also another issue when it comes to evaluation. Resources, being within budget. So one of the things that we do as management, we are always making sure that we are within, because if you don't take care, you will be off the budget, because you can be going with your emotions, you can be going with your a whole lot, and you might misuse funds or misappropriate funds. There was a project we were doing on Kiwix, and we had a funding for it, and we're supposed to rotate. Like we are supposed to, there are lots of them spread across different regions, and one of the things that helped us to be efficient in that project so that we are not wasting resources was that, okay, we knew that they needed some tools for all the work that they're doing. And we had about a limited number, like let's say 5 of them, but we had like this 20 people all scattered all over doing their program. So one of the things was like, will we send it to this region and they bring it back to us? Then we'll now transport it to another region and they'll bring it back to us. And also it felt so chaotic. So I was like, no. I sat down with my team. I was like, no, we need to devise an efficient way. So we started mapping out the timelines that each group is going to do implementation so that we can start prioritizing. Okay, this group is first, this group is second. Where are they located? We find out we map out all the locations, and we said, okay, so this group of people, when we map out the grade, to be easy for this person to send to this person, rather than giving it to us, then we send it back, giving it to us and send it back. So we had to map a cycle of rotation where instead of them bringing it back to us, these groups rotate these tools among themselves. This group also rotates these tools among them. This group also rotates this group. And that helped us to save a lot of money, because we didn't have to, be paying for so much transport cost back and forth, which was going to make us misuse funds and be at a loss. Sustainability is also very important. What will the benefit last beyond the projects? What are the benefits of what you are doing? So in everything that we do, what are the sustainable things that we can think around the project that can last? Because we are not only thinking about present, what is the future things that this thing will impact the world or impacts wherever they go. And for us, sustainability also means positioning. These women are positioned for something bigger and better. And I remember from where we started, we had some volunteers who started with us. And I think for whatever they learned with us and even just being part of the group added to their CV. And then because I at that time before we even had the first cohort, we saw that one of the ladies' profile she was selected for that and and part of her profile was the communication at Africa, which was wow, that even like see how this thing has boosted her opportunity to be selected for something bigger and better. So yeah, know that whatever that you're doing, it doesn't end here. It should take you to the next level. So I know time is fast spent. I don't know how many minutes I have, but like I was telling Blessing, we are asking me to do 3 different things at the same time. So please let me know if my time is up. And then we can either continue or something like that. I don't know. One, I talk about certain indicators. Indicators are what will help you to know whether you have achieved your goal or not. Without any indicators, even those who give grants at the foundation, they have indicators. So be specific. Clearly define what you are measuring. What are you measuring? Example, how many trained participants? How many people have been trained? How many facilitators, were given the opportunity to facilitate? Because that's also like a good an organizer opportunity that we give to other people. You measure, be specific and clear. Don't be vague, like we are training people and all of that. Usually if you're applying for grants or certain kinds of opportunity, you are not specific as to what you are measuring. They don't want to fund it because they can't tell specifically what you want to do. Measurable. Don't go and choose things that are not measurable. Use numbers or observable evidence to track progress. Example, 80 youths were trained by June 2025. You see, we have the dates, we have the number. It's very clear. So even if somebody tell you at the end of this program, so at the end of this, let's say 3 years into our leadership and fellowship program, we can confidently say that we've trained more than 40 women because of our metrics that we measure. And be realistic. I know some people, when they want to get grants, they will choose numbers that you don't even know whether it is real or it is AI, because you want to impress someone, you want to get someone. It's like you are wooing a lady and you want to let her know all the magic powers you have. Sometimes those men don't woo any woman because women want realistic. Isn't it true? We are all women here. We want real things. Don't come and flatter me with things that I know that you cannot achieve. So the same thing when it comes to monitoring and make sure that you be real. Don't go and say numbers. We want to train 2,000 people, and even to get 100 people is not a joke. And you are talking about 2,000. Sometimes these people know, or your partners, your funders, they know that you cannot achieve that. So it raises a lot of concern for them, and they'll keep coming to you that why 2,000, and you put them off instantly. So be realistic. Maybe for the Wiki skill program, like we've decided, we want to train. Our goal for each cohort is to train 20. If we're able to get 20 people who graduate, we've achieved our goal. And it ends there. If you have questions, be dropping them in the chats, and Veronica, you can let me know. Relevance. There are so many things that you can track. Look, as a researcher, sometimes when I think about my research projects, I have and I listen to other people's research, I read other people, then a whole lot of ideas come to my mind. I want to track this, I want to track this, I want to track this, I want to track this. And I sit back again and ask myself, is it even important? Because there are so many things that you can track, but ask yourself whether if it's relevant or it's not relevant. That's the question you need to ask yourself. Is it relevant or not? It's not everything that is relevant. So make sure that you are aligning. So for us, for the On Wiki Skill Mentorship, I'll use that as an example. We want to check if they have boosted their skills in the Wikimedia project beyond how they came in. So they came in with level 1 Wikipedia skills. We want to see if it has moved to level 3 at least, or level 4 at least. Are they so confident about it to edit? That way we will be able to measure. 2, we want to see which countries they are coming from. 3, which language they speak, because language is important because it helps us know how we are impacting different people in different language communities. Do you understand? And there are so many things that we can track, but it's not everything that we want to track. So there are things that are important for us. Did they get the right support from their mentors? What was the challenge? What was the setback? What was the limitation? Because this information will also help us to revise, improve in the next cohort. Okay, so there was something that I don't know if it's relevant to this at all, but you see now, even for our own Wiki Skill Mentorship, we put people into 2 groups. We realized that when French people are mixed in the same room with English people, they don't speak. And that's the first mistake within in the first cohort. But I think we realized it quickly and we changed that. We put French and English in, and we're hoping that when the English teacher is teaching English Wikipedia editing, then we have an interpreter to interpret. But we realized that model was erroneous. It wouldn't work that way. We just need to have separate mentors and separate mentees. And that way we'll be able to track them properly, get the right feedback, and get the right support for them. And that really saved us a lot because we realized the first group meeting we had, and we said, no, we need to strategize quickly and separate them. And that way they felt comfortable. And I think it really worked. So yeah, be time bound. Have a clear deadline or time frame for achievement. I mean, just say a project that can last long. I'll tell you an example. There was one project we were doing. I wouldn't mention the project name for because it's in the wiki space. And then we hired a contractor. And somebody who's supposed to be a professional project manager. And the project came with its own fund. So the salary was high, was very huge, even more than those who were even employed in the organization. And then we had to bring somebody in because the project came with like a whole hire someone, blah, 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 different person to manage the project, a whole lot. And the project that was set to end at a particular period, it was not ending. It was not ending. It was never ending. Then we kept adding some more months, kept adding some more months. And what project is that? It's never ending. And you don't want that. Okay? Because the more it's not ending, what is happening? You are paying salaries. You will keep paying the salaries. Your resources will be depleted. Funding will be going. Because as long as you have a project manager on the project, and the project is not ending, you will have to keep paying the salaries. Okay, so let whatever you are doing have and even at a point it gets exhausting. Imagine on Wiki Skill is forever. Hey, I'm sure madam at a point will not even see blessing on the call again because you'll be fed up. It has to end. Okay, it has to end. so that you can measure. So you can either have it in quarters. So for the education program that I did, the monitoring and evaluation program, we had time bounds. We had certain quarters that we measured the cohorts, and we kept all those data. And then after 3 years, we analyzed all to see whether we had the control group and the experimental group, and then we compare the retention of this cohort to this. You see, because it's time bound, you can be able to, do this comparison and contraction. Okay. So make sure that it's time bound. Don't set anything to Vic. There's no project that doesn't have end. The fact that you do it every year doesn't mean it shouldn't end. Let it end at a point and measure your progress. So I think I've talked a lot about indicators, how to measure resources invested, funds. So what we also do at Africa Wiki and many other organizations, we measure at the end of the day, how much have we spent, how much have gone into stuff, how much have gone into material, how much have gone into this, how much have the bank taken in transaction, how much. We measure everything. We keep track of a lot of things and know whether we were within budget. So every campaign has its own budget. Are we within the budget or we've gone overboard? These are very important things. Measure direct output of activity, what was produced and delivered. Example, 200 participants attended the training. So for those of you organizing training like Scale Up, how many people track it at every Scale Up? Write the number. How many people join? Which countries are they joining from? Use your form because not everything will be tracked by the registration tool. So you use your feedback form to track certain things. Okay? Then measure short to medium-term changes, knowledge, behavior, capacity. So even within your the implementation for you are tracking whether people are, changing, 85% are demonstrating new skills. Like you are here as leaders. We want to see you guys leading. You are here to lead. That's what the program is called, leadership and fellowship. Leadership and fellowship. So if you are not leading, then we are not doing well as a fellowship mentor. Okay? So lead. We want the space to build your confidence. This is where you can make all the mistake and we'll correct you. When Blessing came, she was going to do her first Wikidata training. She said she's not done it before, blah, blah, blah. Then I really enjoyed that training. We put her on the spot. I know some of the things she was saying was kind of funny. I laughed throughout the whole session, but I think she was learning, and with time, there's been significant improvement. So we're all not perfect, but we're all here to learn. Then impact indicators measure long-term change in community or system. So this is one of the things that we at Africa Working Women are looking to do or have been doing to see the long-term change, not just here. How are these people, our fellows, doing beyond here? And I think Blessing's team is going to navigate that evaluation to see how our fellows who have left here are currently performing beyond the Africa Wiki Women space. And sometimes we bring back some of the fellows to come and do one or two things or volunteer one or two things. Yeah. Okay, so best practices. So this is a summary. I think I've mentioned a lot of things. Define indicators at the start, not at the end. So a lot of projects management is now that we advocated for a lot of gender, blah, blah, blah. They think about gender as the last thing. Secondly, they think about gender as something that ticks their box. After they get the funding, nobody cares about gender. This gender thing is a struggle because it's just ticked in people's boxes when they're applying for grant. But many organizations, institutions do not prioritize a lot of gender, which is why we see a whole lot of gender gap issues. Because it's something, it feels to me like something that we just say on the TV, on the radio, and it's a certain group of people saying it, but in reality, their reality is another ball game. It's a struggle for a lot of women to kind of like benefit equitably from certain projects. So define indicators. We are biased towards women. Our projects are focused forward because we believe that there are so many wiki things that are aligning to a lot of males. So to bridge that kind of gap, we focus more on women. So we don't measure men and women because most of our beneficiaries are like women. So it's a kind of set a neutral pace. But for other organizations or groups, it's important, or in other things beyond the Africa Wiki Women space, it's important that you could, if possible, if it has to do with impacting different kinds of groups, you can have indicators for gender. There was a photo someone showed yesterday. The Bank of Ghana reached out to content creators of X to have a serious meeting with them to see how they can support them. And the funny that the person was like, is it AI or is her eyes? And I also was like, whose eyes? Let me also look at it. And I also started asking myself, like, is it my eyes or something else? Because I could see the Bank of Ghana manager, and this is not an AI picture. And the whole content creators he invited as a man were all male. And the lady was asking in the post, like, what was the criteria for selecting these people? Is it that we only have male content creators in Ghana here who create content on X, which is not true. So what informs the selection? They didn't even think, it didn't even cross their mind that they need to be. And this happens to most people. They don't care about it. So as you are going to be leaders in different spaces, this is where you bring attention to leaders. That is important that we have balance. Okay, it should be part of your indicators where possible. And it should always be at the start of the project, not when the project has ended, then you bring 1 or 2 women. And I'll give you an example of a campaign that briefly. I remember some years ago, we organized a campaign and we talked about a campaign, and we were doing about women, okay? And we wanted to get women to, it was she was wanted to get women to lead a campaign and the like, and win awards. At the end of the day, realized that it was only men who won the award. What we didn't take note was that understanding that the women editors don't edit as much as the men. And so as part of our rubrics or indicators or whatever, we should put in certain kind of measurements that can also allow women to stand out in this highly dominated male environment. So having a women category special. So we say, oh, the top woman. So instead of adding everybody as a top competing for one award, we'll have a special bucket of category for women. Who was the top woman? So that we can have one top woman, one top man. Okay. So at the end of the campaign, we have to now come and do that adjustment. It should have been done at the beginning. Then collecting baseline data before project begins. This is very important. You cannot measure progress without anybody. What are you measuring it against? Do you get the point? What are you measuring it against? You need to have what you are measuring it against. Maybe you had 1, now they've reached to 2. You always have to have some kind of baseline where you can measure your progress. Once you don't have a baseline data, you cannot measure. You can only speak to the reporting, but you cannot measure. So always baseline data information is very important. Then involve beneficiaries in evaluation process. Okay, where necessary, involve them. Be honest about what you did, what did not work. Like I told you, we were honest to ourselves that, hey, if you combine French, English, we had to call a spade a spade. Don't be afraid to restructure early enough. don't say that we've already done it this way, so you let us go, we'll do it next time. No, if you have ample time and you think you can restructure, take a pause and restructure before you start moving, because you thank me later. You don't want to struggle. So be honest, what is working, what is not working, and call a spade and move on. Share findings with stakeholders and act on them. What you should not do, wait until the end of the start to thinking about evaluation. Some people, they only think about evaluation when the project has ended. Okay, so now they are now all over the place. No. Only measure what is easy. Only things that are easy just to make noise. No. Measure everything that matters. Cherry pick positive results. If you only cherry pick positive results, a time will come your project will collapse, because you are not truthful to yourself, and you're only thinking about the thing that will make you happy. Think about everything that you would need. Ignore unintended outcome. Forget to document lessons for the future. Don't forget to document lessons for the future. Don't ignore unintended outcome, whether it is negative or positive. Yeah, is there any question? So, I think Buki has shared something that you guys can also have a look at it. But I'd like us to also share like some of the things that, one or two things, and then is there any other feedback? Should we move on quickly?
Sorry, I just wanted to share a practical experience too concerning evaluation. So just like what Ruby had said, most people, when they want to maybe submit a proposal for grants, because we have different kinds of grants that are available within not just within Wiki space, but other organizations too that offer grants. And when they ask you, there's always this particular section which I'm very familiar with, or for those that apply for rapid grants within the foundation. So there's this section that talks about learning and evaluation questions. Most people just think that section is just for them to fill in some random details about how they were able to recruit participants and all those stuff. Why in the actual sense it's meant for anyone, maybe a grantee, to really spell out what you think you want to evaluate. So take for example, you want to do an awareness campaign for people to learn how to edit Wikipedia or even understand how Wikipedia works. For the learning and evaluation questions under that section should be about how would you be able to how would you be able to like understand or have like a clarity that, oh, these people that you created an awareness for, they are now familiar with what Wikipedia is. What are those set criterias? Those things need to be very clear from the get-go before you even submit your proposal, because if you are clear from the get-go, then it's easy for you to when you are planning to implement, you can factor in your timeline when you need to send out surveys to collect feedback, or maybe organize interview session, have focus group conversation with participants. So I just wanted to add that it's very important to have like all these baseline. You can think of baseline when it's like a big project, not a project that is just running for, let's say, 3 months, and you have to submit reports within that 3 months. It can be very stressful. So try to see better ways to evaluate the programs or projects that you are working on within the shortest time possible. So it varies for different projects. And I wanted to also share an experience that currently part of reason why funding to some programs or projects within the Wiki community might not be easy to access is because some current programs are ongoing. Community members are struggling to really evaluate them. I don't want to mention specific program, so it's not as if I'm bringing up like I'm exposing them, right? But yes, it's very important that we are familiar with the what learning and evaluation really means, and there are so many interesting resources that have been created by Jessica. Jessica is like an expert when it comes to evaluation. You don't want to be in a space where she's identifying metrics. You'll be like, oh wow, I thought it was just a simple project. I was on a call with her the other day and we were trying to identify some possible metrics that we need to like carry out some surveys around for hubs. And I was wowed, like I was like, wow, I never thought of all of these things. So I just want to chip that in. Thank you.
That's brilliant, Buki. And I love that. And I think that tools, I think we should compile some tools that you guys can help. I love Let's Connect because they have a lot of tools that are amazing, you know. The tools are very, very important. So I think after this call, we will share some tools that you can use to guide yourself. Any other contribution? No other person is speaking? Okay, let's move to the last session. So these are like how do they call it? Sniper sessions, okay? Because we have to do 3 topics at the same time. So data is gold. I believe most of you have heard that data is gold. This is why even Wikidata is also very, very powerful because a lot of AI tools are leveraging on data. Everybody wants data. Why is data important? Can someone tell me why data is important? Why is data important? Anybody? Moderator? I don't see anybody, so you are my eye.
My hand is up actually, and I hope if you're not able to speak, you can also share your views on the chat. But yes, I think data is important because of the topic we just mentioned earlier. Your evaluation would be much faster if you, not even much faster, more accurate if you collect the data during the event or organization that you are moderating. Yes. Any other person with a view? I cannot see views on the chat.
Okay.
Do we use the there is Moeng, she says data is important because you can make informed decisions. Africa Wiki, I believe that's blessing. It makes your work more accountable. Then you have James Bukola, sorry. Thank you, Bukola. Yes, we have one more hand. Andikan.
Okay, for me, data is important because we won't be like for me, I won't just give mere assumptions on a particular project I'm handling or anything at all. I'll be giving facts because I have them in details. And also, data is very important because it helps us to improve what we tend to measure and what we'll be measuring as well. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You. There is also
Awesome.
Emilia. Emilia,
Okay.
the mic is yours.
Okay, thank you. Data is important because it may also help us to predict what to do in the future. Maybe we have just collected data about the impact of the project. Maybe something has failed, something have been successful. So, according to the data, we can predict on future what can we do so as we can get more impact? Thank you.
That's really
Beautiful.
nice.
I think you all have said wonderful things. Thank you, Veron. Is it Veronica or Veron? Why do I keep missing?
You can call
Veronica.
me Anne.
Anne, okay.
You can, yes, yes.
Thank you.
There are also some two more feedbacks on the chat from Amarachi.
Okay.
That is the
Can you
life of
read
a
it?
project. Yes. That is the life of a project from setting the data is the life of a project, sorry, from setting the start off of a project to the measuring of impact afterwards. That's really nice. There is Veronica who says it helps researchers reach to the conclusion on the hypothesis they wanted to test. That's really nice. Yes, those are the only ones in the chat.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So I believe you all know that I'm also a researcher. And one of the things that I've observed with data as a researcher, even for every country to make a decision, if you need an evidence, you need data to influence policy. You need data. What is the data saying? One, you can have your general perspective that, oh, Nigerians like eba and agusi soup, without thinking that you need data. It's something you can just think out of your head. But in the other part of the world, or in the real world, when it comes to decision making, policy making, you can't just use your head or your mere observation that everybody likes eba. You need to prove it with data. So whatever your assumption is, whatever the hypothesis is, you need a scientific evidence. And so at the higher level, you will need scientific data because it goes just beyond taking ordinary measurements. There are certain scientific tools that these data will need to pass through to provide that kind of statistical information. But there are different levels, like Buki has said, there are different kinds of measurements, there are different kinds of projects and programs and what you need. As for us as an organization, we don't do very high rigorous statistical tools. Because how many people are we even analyzing? And what is it for? It's for kind of like a very limited project. So we use the tools that are helpful for what we need at the moment. Okay. Data are very important. And W. Edwards says, without data, you are just a person with an opinion. Opinion are not taken seriously. It's just your mind, but it doesn't speak to any facts. It doesn't speak to anything, really. It's just an opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. So it's just hovering around you. So data helps us to make evidence-based decision. Haven't you noticed that sometimes you think, oh, everybody seems to support Nigeria football. Everybody in Nigeria automatically should support Nigeria football, right? Team. And when you collect that's when you can even see that, hey, you didn't know that 40% didn't even like or support the team. It's data that will tell you. So data is very important. It helps you to make evidence-based decision. That's why market research is very important for a lot of emerging businesses or businesses that are emerging in new markets. They want to know what are what are the people buying in Nigeria. We see a lot of people are buying diapers. Why? There are more kids in the country. There are more babies that are being birthed in the country every year. Nigeria receives this number of millions of children. And so they will go where their businesses thrive. They do market research in every country and see which country they should target and penetrate. Because you can't just stand up and penetrate into any market without asking of the data. Two, you want to set up an online tool. There's an online tool that we are developing. We want to take it to people to use. We need data. Which people are using, who are like well abreast with online, And then we can see, okay, in parts of Ghana, these people, they don't like online. They're the online community, people with digital phones, they are mostly here. The people who are using the internet are mostly, we need data to make informed decisions so that we know the people we are targeting. Okay, so understand what is really happening. That is what data will let you do. Like I've mentioned, you will know which countries have high internet penetration rates, which countries are very low with internet penetration. When the country has very low internet penetration rate, you don't go there and you want to make money and you are bringing digital tools, that you want them to use to purchase things online. They are not going to use it because you are a serious business of company, you want money, and you are going to a place where you need to teach them digital skills, which is not part of your goal. Your goal is to sell online in that market, like how Temu has penetrated Africa. Everybody's also. So you go to a country where they are not even there online, and you think they will be buying from you. They are not going to buy. So you set up stations and nobody is ordering anything, and you are just paying salaries. So you rather prioritize in places where you can make your money, unless you have the funding to build their digital skills or build their online internet or strengthen that a whole lot of underlying factors before you now think about money, if money is not your priority. It helps you to identify trends and patterns. Every year, what are we seeing? Every year we see that the purchase of diapers is going high. It helps you to communicate finding credibly. When you go before a funder, you go before, you are applying for a grant, you are confidently saying that there are 40% of the youth are online or are using mobile phones. You are coming with data because they'll ask you, on what basis are you saying this? You need to back it with data according to statistical, that's why are we doing this Africa Wiki Women? We set up Africa Wiki Women based on data. It's an agenda. We saw the data and it's very clear. They said less than 20% of articles are written about women. We say, why? 80% is about men, 20 is about women. Why? This is low, it's not fair. Secondly, we saw that less than 15% of those articles have images. It's a big problem. Women are not even visible on the internet. Thirdly, the participants, people who even read the Wikipedia, are about 40 women. So it means that more women are reading than even they are contributing. So a whole lot of gaps informed us to come up with this thing. What do we have to do? Let's mentor them. Let's train them. You see how data is informing decisions. We didn't just stand up to do this. We backed it all up with data. So 90% of organizations say data is important. 3 times better decision. 67% of projects that fail had no clear M&E plan. No clear M&E plan. These are what data is speaking to. This is an example. So 50% cost saving possible. So data will tell you when people do serious data analysis, they can tell you that if you do this, it can make your company efficient and all of that. So I think it's very clear the value of data. So just a brief data analysis process. Define your question. What do you need to know? What does it matter? Why does it matter? So some of the tools will help you to guide you how to define your questions, because it's the questions that will give you answers. I've seen people do research, and they didn't ask the right question. I think some time ago I experienced that after the data call, I was like, I should have asked this question. Why didn't I ask? The people are gone. They are gone forever. Like there's no way they will gather there for you to meet again. So make sure that you're asking the right questions so that when you don't get them again, you have all the information you need. Collect your data. You can use surveys, you can use existing records. So you don't always have to collect fresh data. You can also use records. So for instance, some of my research I'm going to do, I'm going to collect data, but again, I'm also going to measure it against the existing records data that exists to see what is also on the ground, to see what the people are also saying, to see how these information interacts with each other. Then when you collect fresh data, Like I told you about my monitoring and evaluation skill, you have to clean the data before you put them in data analysis tool. Even if you are using Excel to do data analysis, make sure that the data is clean, because sometimes people input wrong data. And so you're not able to do a better analysis if the data is having errors. For instance, the places that are supposed to have numbers, you're having words, letters mixed up. Somebody says two. Somebody wrote the twee. Somebody made a mistake in the writing. It brings error in the data. So make sure that the formatting is the same and is consistent. So if it's two, make sure that if they are writing two, it should be the same. So sometimes you can give them option to choose from in the places where usually when it's open-ended, then you can get errors, because now you are saying type your country. Then somebody is typing Botswana with smaller b. Somebody is typing Botswana with capital B. Somebody didn't spell the Botswana correctly. Everybody and their spelling of Botswana, and then it makes it the data feel like they are different variables. Meanwhile, they are the same. So make sure that everything is consistent. When we're doing the technical research, one of the things we did before handing the data on to a data specialist was to make sure the data is clean. Then you analyze and interpret. You can use data analysis tools like SPSS, Excel. You can use pivot tables, depending on what you're doing. If you're doing simple data visualization, you can use pivot tables and then like, I don't know if I have time to share with you something. You can use spreadsheets. Some of the visualization tool is Power BI, Tableau, Canva. All of these things can help you. You can use surveys, forms like Kobo Collect, Survey CTO. This is what the Survey CTO is what we use for our education data collection tools. Yeah. And advanced statistical tools, SPSS. So all of these things depend on at what point you use Python, Stata, R. What can you use? If you are doing simple descriptive analysis, you can use spreadsheets to do it, but you can also use any of these tools to do those things. But if your data is quite very large data sets, then you have to use tools like Python's data that can query the data directly. So they are good tools to learn. Let me see how many slides I have more. Okay, I think I'm almost done. Yeah, so I think I've mentioned a lot of things. There are different types of so one thing that you're doing, if you're doing data visualization and all of that, you need to choose your tools well. Either you're using bar charts. Usually they are used for comparing categories. I'll share the slides with you so that you can go to line charts you can use to show trends. How is it going? Like every year, heat wave. The heat was this degree, and then they can project maybe in the next 20 years, this is how the trend is going to be based on the models that have been developed in the past. Okay, scatter plots for showing relationship between two variables. So different types of visualizations depend on what you want to measure. Okay. So clean your
Yes.
data. We're almost done, right?
Sorry. You have less than 5 minutes.
Okay. So I'm almost done. I think if you see this do's and don'ts, then you know that we are almost there. So if you don't learn anything at all, make sure that you clean your data before analyzing. Don't assume and start analyzing the data. Document your methodology and assumptions clearly. Okay. Use multiple data tools to triangulate findings, separate correlation from causation in your conclusions, present limitation and uncertainties in your finding, make data accessible with simple. I want to show you something simple. I don't want to talk a lot again. Let's take our questions, what I try to figure out. So this is a data, for instance, this is a data that we collect on Wiki skill mentorship. Is this reimbursement form? Okay. Reimbursement form. I thought I was looking at the evaluation form. I didn't even know where to find it. I need to. So this is a data. Okay, when you use the Google form to collect data, you can open it in a spreadsheet and it will show you this. And you can do a simple analysis. Where are these reimbursements people coming from? You can just insert this data, for instance. Let's say I want to insert this data. What is this? Okay. Into a pivot table. Okay. I want to just do some. So I put it in a new sheet. It just creates a new sheet for me. Then I want to see what I want to compare. I want to see, okay. I want to see, let me see. They are all the same gender, so I don't know. Do you see? Okay. Then I can look at the columns to also see, okay, so I look at the gender, then I look at, it has a lot of translations and a whole lot of things. Let me see the scores. Is there anything like scores here? Okay. Let me see. This is not a proper data, so I don't like the values that I'm getting. Okay, let me see. Let me see if there's a score. Did they give a score? Sum of scores. No, there's no values in it. Then there was no scores added on the spreadsheets, I think. Let me see number of trainings. Okay, Blessing, you can be wrapping up whilst I'm just trying to figure this out. Okay. So you see, it's a simple thing. I want to check the number of so I want to analyze something. So the gender, I want to see how many. So this is giving me a total. And obviously it feels like a number of women were more than, let me check the value of the gender and see. Sorry. Okay. I don't want this. Okay, so this gives me the number of female, 19, the number of male. So I think we should have a better session for the Excel thing, maybe another time, not now, because we spend a lot of hours here. So this is a simple analysis that I've used the pivot table to analyze. I can insert it into a graph, a chart. So this is a chart. And it gives me a pie chart to see which share of the pie is male and female. But this is giving me grand total. I don't want grand total. I can edit it from it. So there are a lot of things that you can do, to try to, see, visualize your data, analyze your data, see, especially if you have a lot of information, especially you don't know how to assess yourself, which people are participating in your countries more, which countries are participating in your projects more. You want to check all of these things, you can check them. Okay. Yeah. So that brings me to the end of my session. Is there any question that you want to ask?
Wow, that was a really, really insightful session. Is there anyone with a question? I have learned a lot, especially about data analysis and evaluation. As someone who does in-person events, that is really, really necessary. Yes, let me see hands of people who have any question, any comment, to thank Ruby, the scientist herself, for being here and giving us this great information. Come on. Is there anyone who wishes to thank Ruby or say comment or give comments or ask questions? I'm also monitoring the chats if you are not in a position to speak. Adenka, the floor is yours.
Yes, I just want to say thank you very much to Mrs. Ruby because this session is it's really an eye opener. The fact that this period, especially this year, African Wiki Women has been training us on how to always document. Every department has to document, and this training is just coming handy to complement that. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Glad. I'm glad.
There's this skill that we have learned, inspiring the people who have been silent to speak up. Is it okay if I pick anyone randomly?
Let's hear from the silent
Just
people.
for them to tell
Just
us
so that we
what they
know
have
that
learned?
they are around. They are here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Beatrice, hi. Beatrice, hello. But I know I've heard from her severally. Mami Soa,
Mm-hmm.
or they left the meeting. They just left it running. Mami Soa, hello. We are saying things that we have learned and also thanking Ruby for this powerful session. So yes, tell us what you've learned and
Yeah.
also give her your comments.
So thank you.
Uh, your internet is not clear, or is it from my end? I cannot hear you clearly.
Uh, Thank you so much, Ruby, for the training. It was hello.
Yes, we are
Hello?
hearing you.
A lot of things today about moderation, evaluation, and data. It was very helpful.
Oh,
Okay, okay. Your internet
okay.
is breaking, but I
Can you
think I've
hear
heard
me?
you.
Yeah, we heard you.
Yes, we heard
Thank
you.
you.
All right, thank you so much. And as a moderator, I also believe that we should have started with introductions since Ruby and Blessing said that they are not aware of some of the fellows. So next time, I've noted that. Next time we'll do that. But because of time, allow me to hand over
Yeah,
the mic to Blessing. Blessing,
sure.
the floor is yours. Thank you so much, Ruby.
Thank you too. Thank you all. Is Blessing there? So Blessing, I need you to let us have all the names of the fellows who were able to join. Okay. Let's have meeting records for this training.
Okay, she's here, but she's unable to speak.
No
If
worry.
she has
Then
also not heard, I will deliver the message to her.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All the best.
Uh, Thank you. And I believe that being no other business, this successful meeting is adjourned. Enjoy your end of the week. See you some other time. Bye bye.
Bye. You too. Bye.
Bye.